G'day people, and congratulations on your first week of the Push Body Transformation. By now, we are certainly in the swing of things with the training going full throttle and your meal plans and recipes being followed. Today, I've got something really special for you, and that is I would love to deliver a PowerPoint presentation on not only strength training, but also cardio training. So ready guys, get your pens and paper, get out your program, and let's go through this and make some notes. So, what is a winning strength training formula? Let's talk a little bit about the program that you guys are on right now. So when I say the program you're on right now, doesn't matter which program you're doing. If you're following a push system, I'm going to give you an understanding of where it comes from. So hopefully that gives you the knowledge to be confident in what you're doing and just show you a bit of the science behind why we train the way we do. So are you ready? Pens and paper out again, guys. Let's get into it. A winning strength training formula. So the only thing he's addicted to right now is winning. Is that your attitude? Just like Charles, is it your attitude to be winning every session? Point one, guys, you need to win every single session. When you walk into the gym, it is battleground. I want you to arm yourself and go for it. There's no constraints, no conformity, nothing. There is you and the workout ahead. It's the one place where you can be completely free to train and to be the way you wish. Don't worry about anybody else. Don't worry who's watching. The only person you need to be worried about that's watching is you. Okay? You hit the gym, you go in there, and you go in there ready to do absolute battle. Do not hold back and make the good voice loud. Block out all of those, he's doing this, she's watching me, I don't know if I can do one more. Block it all out and think of why you're there. You're capable, people. You have 2 arms and 2 legs. 95% of the population are the same. There are 5% that are out there, unfortunately, that perhaps are not being able to do some of the exercises you are. So make the most of it, okay? Grip up, get into it, and make it happen. That is a winning program. First and foremost, it starts with you and your attitude. So a few of the benefits of strength training. For some of those out there that still don't understand the benefits of strength training, certainly for women, that's quite a large fallacy. One thing that came up in the forum this week was, look, if I do weight training, will that mean I'll get bigger as I put muscle on? Well, this is what actually happens, guys. When you train muscle, when you train to build muscle, this is a process called hypertrophy. When you train doing resistance training, you physically actually break down and tear the little fibers in your body, in the muscle body, and what happens is it has to repair. Those muscle fibers must come back stronger so that they can repair and therefore become stronger for the next time that they are subject to that same load. That is called advancement. That is called adaptation. So the body needs to get stronger. When it becomes stronger like that, it builds lean muscle. Now that process is expensive in terms of energy. So that is why weight training turns your body into a fat burning machine. As it becomes more accustomed to doing that, it starts to chew more fat. Why does it chew more fat? Because it knows that that same process is going to be asked of the body in another day, a day after, or within the next week. So the body's quite smart, and instead of using carbohydrates and sugars to perform that process, it then says, well, no, hang on a minute, I'm going to be asked to do another session tomorrow because that's what's happened over the last 2-3 weeks. Now I've got to start to be a bit more sensible, and it starts to train the energy systems to be utilized differently. That is a biggest advancement, or one of the most beneficial points of prolonged training. It's where a physically trained body runs far more optimally than an untrained body and is going to burn a lot more body fat in those processes. So that's how we reduce body fat. We're going to increase muscular strength. And when you increase muscular strength, we're also going to be increasing strength of tendons and ligaments. Now, for those out there that are reading Push Training Smarter, Not Harder, you will know that the secret that I've given everybody is understanding you need time. Increasing strength of tendons and ligaments is absolutely crucial as you start to lift heavier weight or become more explosive with the speed of the movement that you're doing, because it puts excess strain onto our connective tissues and not just the muscle. That is why new bodybuilders, or the disco bodybuilders that I call them, that come into the gym August, September, who want to get bigger and stronger for Christmas, which by the way is a fair goal, is just a little bit unrealistic, because the muscles will get stronger, yes, but the tendons and ligaments are 7 times slower to keep up with those muscles. So there's going to come a time where they're just going to be overworked, and that's when we can get some severe injury. Tendons and ligaments heal a lot slower than what muscle does. So keep that in mind, guys. We're going to improve flexibility. Yes, weight training helps us improve flexibility as we're going through range of motion in most of those exercises. If we're reducing body fat, we're going to be increasing lean body mass. We're also going to decrease resting blood pressure. This also comes from cardio training as well, but that's a huge health benefit for those that are getting on in life. Decreases and helps prevent the risk of most diseases. Now, here's a really cool point for you. If you train 3 to 4 moderately vigorous, intense sessions on a weekly basis, you will reduce the risk of chronic illnesses such as bowel cancer, heart disease, stroke, and other chronic illnesses by 68%. 68%. That is absolutely huge, guys. So you guys are out there doing that, but please share that word. It is absolutely truthful. Read the introduction in Push Training Smarter Not Harder, and you will see a link that I've given you there to get the up-to-date, most recent facts on illnesses and how we can prevent them by exercise. I'm going to run through this, guys, and you guys can come back to this anytime you want to see some of the other benefits. Let's move on. So, guys, it's not 1980, 60, 50, 40 anymore. It is 2012, actually, not 2011, but 2012. So let's think a little bit about the science behind our training and the way we look at it. Firstly, we look at authentic movements before artificial. So this is using the laws of nature to train. We're talking about what our ancestors did. We're talking about the big barbaric movements, the caveman style lifts. This is your squats, your pushes, your pulls. I love doing some of those sled pushes and those sled drags, and we've got them in our programs, guys, certainly for home-based exercises. These are sensational. The body needs to learn to be able to rotate, to be able to lunge, to be able to bend. And this is why we're training authentic movements before artificial. Some of the artificial movements are your more isolated movements, like a tricep kickback, which by no means, guys, I'd like to see anybody doing that exercise. It is rubbish. Let's pick much better exercises and follow our programs. Now, the body protects or adapts. So what we want to do is protect our spine in the way that we train, which is why there is corrective activations, and our warm-ups are made up of activation exercises where you continue through them. For example, you might see that you're doing marching followed with a one-leg lift. Now, there's no break between that. I want you to perform that as cardio. I want you to go to the floor, perform your marching slowly, but get up as quick as you can, go into your one-leg multiplanar reaches and so forth. So you get a cardio effect in that process. This way we're going to be protecting our spine, and then we can move on to the adaptation by placing load on our workout, okay? During our workout, should I say. So where else do we adapt? We adapt by changing our programs every 2 to 3 weeks. So the push program does not have you doing the same stuff 3 or 4 weeks in a row. No way. At max, it's 3 weeks and it's time to move on. And we can change every workout by adjusting our repetitions, our sets, or, wait for it, our speed. Strength can grow in not only maximal lifts, but also speed style training. This makes it more functional for day to day. So where you could perform an exercise for 3 repetitions at maximal weight, we might perform an exercise, that same exercise at 5 repetitions, but only do 3 of it. So that means if you can bench press 50 kilos for 5 reps, we might just do it for 3 reps as fast as possible. That is still going to maintain your strength as you're focusing now on speed and performance. Now, keep in mind, when you seek knowledge, you get what they know and not what always exists. Okay? Think about this, guys. We are looking at training with the most up-to-date, modern principles in training that we follow by performing lots and lots of research on an annual basis and putting that into the push body transformation. Of most recent, we are following Dr. Len Kravitz's articles on cardiovascular training, and then we're also following some of the articles by his colleagues on weight training and looking at having less rest between your exercises to stimulate the hormone response, testosterone, that you're after to grow muscle. And that is why we use lots of supersets in the 2012 push body transformation. Okay, so we're all individuals that exhibit truths that are widely accepted, yet each person is unique. Therefore, we need to look at specific warm-up activations for you as an individual. Now, the best way to do that is for us to perform posture analysis on you and look at how you bend, how you push, how you pull, how you squat, and look at the different chains of muscles and perhaps where there might be some dysfunction at joints. So that way we can identify those, work on them, because you're only as strong as your weakest link. That is the way that we look at putting our program. So I suppose that's a little bit difficult for us, for those people that we're not working with one-on-one, because we're unable to do that. So that is why we've put movements together that everyone needs to do. But don't forget, guys, if you're working with your trainer and you've been given a slightly different activation program and following on from your posture analysis, then follow that, because that's an individual process for you, and that will get certainly a better result. So let's think about this, guys. Benefits of strength training. A lean pound of muscle will use around about 35 to 50 calories a day. So per kilo, 70 to 100 calories per day. That is turning your body into a fat-burning machine. So a loss of a half a pound can lead to around about 1.5 kilos of body fat annually. That's 25 pounds in 10 years. So for some of us out there, for those persons, certainly for females over the age of 30, we want to not only grow muscle, but we want to maintain it, because muscle is expensive. As you can see, it burns lots of calories. And our body is not used to that. It's not aware that we have fast food up the road, that there's a supermarket around the corner. So it does not want you to burn and build muscle, because you're going to be burning energy, and that energy is what makes us survive. So keep that in mind. Only over the last 100 years has it become so easy for us to find food to be able to feed our families. 100 years. Our body has been around for 10,000 years, a long, long time. So we are ancient in the way our body internally functions. Our brain, we have evolved, but our bodies still remain similar to our ancestors. And that's something that's going to take a lot of time. But if you can understand that point, you can understand that now we move a lot less and we eat a lot more. And this has come about in the last 60, 70 years, not even 100 years ago. There was no cars 100 years ago for all families to have, just few. And back in 1900, there were none. So keep this in mind, guys. We need to be moving our body daily. It is common sense. Otherwise, we're going to get fat, we're going to become dysfunctional, and we're not going to die of old age. We will die of disuse. So, a lower calorie intake shows a greater fat storage. We need to be looking at, with this year's program, having at least 1,200 to 1,500 calories. Now, if you find that you're eating 1,200 calories a day, females out there, and still performing your exercise, and then plateau, so you have a good couple of weeks, and then maybe plateau, it's time to boost those calories back up to 1,500 for a week to give your body a little bit of, not let it relax, but let it just unwind and recover a little bit so that it can continue on with the fat burning processes. Okay. Women have higher estrogen during puberty and pregnancy, and this promotes fat storage. Also, epinephrine and glucagon are fluctuating hormones that affect thyroxine. So keep that in mind, that those that are in puberty and pregnancy, there are some specific programs that we need to follow within nutrition to ensure that we don't promote fat storage, but that is normal, and then females will store fat around their hips and their legs. Weight training really helps us manage those hormones. Okay, so let's rewire ourselves. I'm going to jump over that. We'll come back to that another day. Okay. Make the good voice louder. I said this before. Each weight training day, we want to make sure that we are making the good voice louder. That is crucial. You only want to listen to that positive noise in your brain, guys. When you're telling yourself you can, and the music's going, and you're just focusing on doing it, you will succeed. But if you start giving in to the words I can't or I won't, then really, guys, you've got to check yourself. That is a winning attitude. So what is hypertrophy? I've discussed that hypertrophy was the breakdown of muscles, but it is the increase due to an increase in the size of the individual muscle fibers because of that breakdown. Okay, this occurs as adaptation to various stresses placed on the muscle. So there's two types, myofibrillar and sarcoplasmic. Myofibrillar is the hypertrophy that you will see from a strength athlete like a power lifter, and sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is that you will see of a bodybuilder. So here, myofibrillar hypertrophy is an increase in the muscle size by an increase in the number and size of the contractile proteins in the muscle. All you need to know is this is functional hypertrophy. This is where we're doing between 4 and 8 reps, and it's focusing on the big lifts and making us stronger like the power lifter. So we need a little bit of that in our program. Most of us, certainly your push the guns clients, you guys are doing that now because a stronger muscle will be able to endure more. This is a key reason why females don't get stronger, because they don't perform those larger lifts and they are afraid of doing 4 to 8 reps. But this is not what makes a muscle bulky. This is what makes you build strength. It does make you hungry. So if you build strength and don't control your eating, you then become bulky. Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is focusing on around about the 8 to 12 rep range, and this is where you actually get an increase in the size of the actual muscle. But this is called non-functional because it doesn't lead to any increases in strength. So this is your bodybuilding style. Now, let's look at the repetitions that we're following in our program. 1 to 3 reps is your maximum strength. 1 to 6 is where we look at strength, speed, or power. And functional hypertrophy is between 4 and 8. So for those that are really focusing on sports and being specific to be getting stronger, we need to be keeping those reps certainly around about the 1 to 6, and functional hypertrophy, which relates to day-to-day movement and performing repetitions similar than what you would day-to-day, would be between those 4 and 8 reps. To become more structurally sound and larger, the reps are between 8 and 12, and that's our structural hypertrophy. And then between 12 and 20, that is where we're looking at endurance, and that's not going to lead into a development of muscle. The reason why people think endurance training 12 to 20 builds lean or toning muscle is because of this. All you're doing is maintaining muscle. You're not actually growing any muscle. You're growing endurance. So you are going to learn to buffer lactic acid better. That's going to help you with your weight training. What that means is if you can buffer lactic acid better between your set 1 and set 2, you will recover quicker. So therefore you can train faster and get a better hormone response to build muscle. That's the first thing you need to understand. Secondly, by doing those reps, you burn more calories. So yes, physically, you're going to learn to buffer lactic acid, which will help you with your cardio and your weight training programs. But secondly, it's also going to make you burn calories through weight training. And weight training and burning calories through weight training is tough. Running on a treadmill is tough, don't get me wrong, but running on a treadmill or through sand on an incline is much tougher because now you have load put against you. That's the same focus of using weight training or our superhero program to burn calories. So let's talk about our sets today. we want to warm up at around about 50% of 6 to 8 range of motion exercises. So guys, this is crucial because there's been a few questions that have been posted up on the forum about our sets. We perform 1 set to max. That is 1 set to absolute max. That is finding your high point. That is your personal best. That is what you write in the back of your diary under personal bests. Let's use, for argument's sake, the squat. Let's say my personal best is 8 repetitions. I'm a male, 90 kilos at 100 kilos. So my personal best is 8 at 100. I would warm up at around about 60 kilo, and I will do that nice and slowly for 6 to 8 reps to get a warm up and basically prepare my mind and my muscles for what's about to follow. Now, all going well, I'm going to move now into a potential set. So that is at 80% of my maximum. Now, there's 2 ways to look at this, guys. 80% could mean I do 8 at 80 kilo, or it could mean I lift 100 kilo and I do 80% of the reps. So 80% of 8 is roughly around about 5 or 6 reps. If I do that, and that is what I would like you guys to do that are lifting higher weights. So those people that are lifting larger weight and focusing on strength, that is the system that we want you to follow. We want your mind to be prepared and your central nervous system to be prepared for what's ahead. So training at 80 is not going to stimulate your nervous system for the larger load when you go to 100. So what I would suggest is you do 2 warm-up sets. You warm up at 50 or 60, you then warm up at 80, and then you do your potential set at the load you are about to lift. Now you might find that day you lift 100 and you do 5 and you think, you know what, that was pretty comfortable. So that's where you might make a decision now to go to 105 and go for those 6 to 8 reps again. That is now called your failure set of 100%. We then use a compound set with this exercise. So the squat could be straight into the wall sit, could be straight into a round of walking lunges, lateral lunges, split jumps. It all depends on the program that you're doing, and that's where we follow the programs on this site or speak with your push trainer. So the sets we do, yes, we're doing 3 sets, sometimes 4 sets, depending on your warm-up. You need to reach potential. Okay, it doesn't mean you just go straight into failure. You need to get primed up for your failure set. So for sometimes you might need to do 1 set, others you need to do 5. If you need help with that, ask your trainer. The bottom line is, ask yourself this: am I primed and ready to do a personal best? And that is it. We don't want to do 3 sets at maximal load because that can be potentially dangerous. So this is why we use the term 1 set. This means that you perform 1 set to maximum potential per exercise. This enables you to break the barrier that the mind puts in place when you know you have to perform 3 sub-maximal sets. You will sometimes do the 1 to 2 warm-up sets, or a warm-up set, a potential set, and then your failure set. But keep in mind, if you're going for your PP, which is yes, every session, then the potential set needs to be around about no harder than having 2 to 3 reps left in your tank. Now, if you're fatigued and cannot reach more reps than your second set, you are wasting time and possibly will lead to overtraining. This is why 1 set training is so time and physically effective. Find a high point in every workout, guys. Make sure you find a point that you haven't been before and challenge that. Go further than where you have been before. That is what we want you to do every single session. And that is why we do not do programs for more than 2 to 3 weeks at a time. So that way you can continually get high points before you plateau. We move on to another movement. So where I discussed the squat, now we could go into a box squat and now find a new personal best there before we come back to the squat again and now reach another high point moving forward 3 weeks later. We continually want to find high points in our program. To do that, warm-up, potential, and failure sets are critical. Time under tension is a term used in training which classifies the duration of time that a muscle is kept under constant tension. This is where we want to be looking at 60 to 90 seconds of time under tension. So to do that, we're doing lots of compound training in our program. Keep in mind, guys, 60 to 90 seconds is what we are looking for. Now, for you push your guns clients out there, you guys are going to get around about 30 to 40 seconds for the first couple of weeks because you're just focusing on maximum strength. You're doing reps of 3, 4, 5. So it's not about tension because we're not focusing on growing muscle. We're focusing on growing strength. And the stronger a muscle, the more it can endure. So we're really preparing you for the next 7 weeks, which is all based on muscle building. So higher intensity and lower reps builds body mass density. This helps us with fat oxidation, okay? And it helps us increase our metabolic rate. This is around about 5 to 6 calories per minute compared to 7 to 8 calories with high intense training. So you guys are going to be burning less calories, the strength clients that are training out there, compared to those that are doing the circuit training. As you can see, high intense training or intervals is burning around about 7 to 8 calories per minute. So for those guys out there now, I want you to look at this. Does that weigh up for you? Check your heart rate monitor and begin your workout or your heart rate monitor on your superhero workout or your circuit training session for the Push the Fat advanced programs after you've done your warm-up. So as soon as you hit the first exercise, the first circuit, click, bang, away you go. Now measure the time of how long it takes you to complete the workout, the calories you burnt, and therefore the average calories that you burn in that program. That should be clearly different to the average calories on your strength training day. Right. Finally, guys, to build stronger muscles, we need to reduce the effect of cortisol. This really starts to rise after 50 minutes or after training 2 to 3 heavy sessions in a row. So training 3 days consecutively at intensity needs to be reduced, guys. This will have a catabolic effect. Testosterone and growth hormone lowers. So just get in, do your work, shut up and lift. Coming into the end of the program, guys, you're going to note in the weeks to come that we're going to be using things called giant sets. This helps protein synthesis, being the uptake of protein to resynthesize the muscle cells and build muscle. It's all about hormones. Hormones are everything. If you train hard every day and you're feeling fatigued in the nervous system because your endocrine system and your hormonal balance is out of whack, then you're really going to struggle there, guys. So make absolutely sure that you're training smarter and not harder. That means no sessions 3 days in a row at intensity. That means listen to your body, number 2. That means get in, do 35 minutes of high intensity workout, not your warm up and your cool down. Just 35 and that is it, okay? When you have low fuel in the system, you will use protein as a fuel. So in understanding that, make sure you've got fuel in your body 2 hours before your workouts and use the Aminobol BSC product just before your high intense sessions so that way you do not waste muscle. Branch chain amino acids are proven to help you avoid muscle wastage. So for this program, even for you ladies out there that are taking Zotrim and are on a fat metabolizer, that is fine. But for weight training, high intense sessions or exercise on an empty stomach like first thing in the morning, you must have an amino acid to protect the muscle you've built because it takes a lot of energy to build muscle and we want to build muscle, not just burn calories. So you're not born a champion. Who is on your council? You've got the entire push team helping you. You've got your club. So go and ask questions on the forum under Meet Your Club. Whatever the club is, go and speak to them. Use your buddy, guys, and listen in on this education. Find your trainer and build these people into your council. We've got Sherry and Larissa following the forums and helping you guys there as well. Your council are your support persons. Bodybuilders are sometimes labelled as having California muscles, all no show and no go. They possess much more size but not the strength to match. That is the sarcoplasmic hypertrophy I was talking about before. We want to balance both. Now, why do we want hypertrophy? Why do we want more muscle? Because it makes us feel good. Confidence. Stature, it's great for your posture, makes it look sexy and lean. For ladies, working on your shoulders, your triceps and the hamstrings will really give you shape through your backside and midsection. And for guys, shoulders and calves are a must. Okay, big legs, working on those calves and working on those shoulders will really give you some extra stature there. So you guys need to make sure you're putting your leg training in. Train the wheels. You will not see a big tree without a big trunk. Resilience, it makes us harder if we're doing contact sports. And performance, a stronger muscle can endure and exert more. I want you to think about this on your next session. And this is where we're going to finish up for today's weight training process. For a dinosaur, it is perfectly normal to enjoy training. The harder and more demanding the session, the more enjoyable it is. Dinosaurs have a deep-rooted, almost primordial need to test their strength against heavy weights and do so regularly. A dinosaur's training session is the high point of each day. It is time when he feels most alive. The training session allows him to express his true self, the self he has to cover up in order to live in the everyday world and its myriad of castes, codes, and conformity. During a workout, a dinosaur is free to be as physical and animalistic as he wishes. He can be barbaric, brutal, primitive, and artistic. He can challenge the iron, grapple with it, do battle, and either live or die. The part of him that never finds expression in the ordinary course of everyday existence may be unleashed in full force when he attacks the iron. Now guys, when you feel that way about your training, consistency, perseverance, and tenacity become second nature. And at that point, your ultimate success is a foregone conclusion. Guys, when you attack each workout with nothing on your plate, with no mind besides right now, you will succeed. You will find high points, whether you know it or not. Even if you didn't measure it, you will find more because you are saying to yourself, what can I do today? Now, not every workout is going to be your best. I understand that. Not every workout will be your best, but I want you to give your best on every day. Make sure you're fair and you're honest, and you will succeed, because successful people do what failures won't. I want you to look at exercise as not a chore, but it's a time where you can express yourself and let yourself go with no constraints besides the limits you lay. It's not a chore and should not be viewed this way. Expect the training session and be excited that you are able to be there at that moment. Welcome it, embrace it, and go for it. Have a great week, guys, and catch you for the second session next week.